Hello and welcome to Watch Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandliker, and joining me today is the one, the only, my favorite, Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Aren't you sweet? I'm good.
Oh, please.
We just came back from a weekend in Vegas, baby. So I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm poorer for it, but I'm richer in experience.
What a fun time. Yeah, we had a great show on Thursday. Thanks to everyone who showed up to our very first ever Vegas show. You guys were a great crowd. You were so funny and so sweet. And then we just hung around the rest of the weekend in Vegas and had so much fun. Like, that was great. That was a great time that we had there in Sin City. So, you know, in recovery mode a little bit right now, at least I am. But what we're so excited about is that now we only have 2 shows left. So we have Seattle next month and we have Los Angeles. So everyone get your tickets at watchwhatcrappens.com. The links are there. We're going to have an amazing time. Let's send out this tour on the highest of the high notes. Come, bring your friends, bring your animals, bring people off the street, bring robots. I don't care. Let's just have like a big party in these theaters. Okay, watchwhatcrappens.com. And also really excited because next month, Love Island USA is back with our favorite Bravo lady, Ariana, hosting. So we are going to do what we did last season, which is we're going to have daily updates on Patreon, we had a great time doing that last year. So we're going to do it again. So patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens is where you're going to get access to all of that. Plus, of course, Crappens on demand where you can watch us on video. So it's just a great time over here. And we're ready today to dive into some Atlanta, shall we? The destruction of Porsha and Shamea's friendship at long last.
Yeah, here we go.
What's going on with you, Ronnie? How are you? I didn't even ask you, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I just went
I'm great.
mouth.
No, I had a really good time. I had a good weekend, had a fun time. My sister came to Vegas. Your friends came. We had a big, great, good time. We saw Lisa Vanderpump's Pinky's Restaurant.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
And
I was like, I knew there's something we have to talk about. We have to talk about that we went to Pinky's Restaurant. Don't we?
Yeah.
So,
sure. Should we talk about it on the Val? I don't know, or should we talk about it here?
We can talk about it on the Valley. Yeah, let's talk
about it on the Valley. We'll give our review on the Valley.
Yeah.
But later this week, we just did an interview with Serena from Below Deck Down Under. So check that out on Friday as well. But today, the end of Shamea and Porsha. You know, I like Shamea okay, but I'm still, my opinion from last week is expanding. I think she's trying too hard as the new friend to have a fight with her old friend, and I don't like it. Fight with the new people. Don't fight with your regular friend who helped get you on the show. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I understand her points. I think that probably Porsha, I get the sense in that relationship, Porsha takes and takes and takes in that relationship. And Shamea just is like trying, like she keeps it all bottled up and now she's exploding outwards. But I think that Shamea, it's like she keeps on saying that she would never put like her relationship with Porsha in a place where other people could comment on it. But I'm like, you kind of did though. Although
that's what this argument is about. You started it by talking to the other girls. So I don't know.
But I guess she clarifies that they talked to her about it. And then she just was like, no, it's cool. But I don't know.
Right, but that's what happened with Porsha, too. Porsha didn't say anything about it. The other girls brought it up. So it was the same thing. The other girls Porsha never said anything mean about Shamea. The other girls brought it up, and Shamea's just mad that Porsha didn't shut it down. And so the same could be said for you, ma'am. So that's the thing. I don't really get all that, and I think it's too much. And she's all on Watch What Happens Live acting like, oh, that she would do this to me. It's a little bit too much for me. I'm not really buying it. Now, that said, I can't be put in the position where I'm like, oh my God, Portia's totally not a selfish jerk because, you know, it's Porsha. So I'm sure that can't be easy either. But I don't know. All right, well, let's just get into it. Here's what's making me happy. Angela. Okay,
yes,
Angela.
Always. Angela's just great. So Angela and Charles go on a date. More like she goes on a date and he goes to an experience that he's tolerating, because I don't think he seems particularly happy or enthused to be doing any of this. So they go to like a rooftop bar and she's like, so what do you think? And he's like, I'll see when the food comes out. he's like, this will not be a good date until I know the quality of the food. Have they cooked 45 corns on the cob? Because if they haven't, this place is a bust.
Yeah, I don't smell Brussels sprouts for an entire army frying right now, so I don't know if this is good or not. You know, not enough food waste. I can tell you that so far. Not enough food waste. But it's on a rooftop bar. But it's one of those rooftop bars that literally looks like they just tarred the roof to have extra space. And then it's just kind of hanging over, not really a view or anything. I was like, get me a table inside with air conditioning. This is Atlanta.
I spoke to an old queen at the bar, by the way. And she was like, the old queen at the bar was like, you know what? I was listening to your episode where you were theorizing about like why is Charles cooking so much food, and how, I think one of us said at some point like maybe he's cooking for the crew. And so this old queen in the bar is friends with someone on the crew and asked them like, hey, was Charles cooking for you guys? And the person on the crew was like, honestly, we have no idea who he was cooking for.
But I like that he didn't even give it to the crew. Like there's all this extra, and he's like, no. But now people know that I know how to handle a lot of Brussels sprouts. So.
Yeah, I just love that. They're like, he just was cooking. So they order some food now, and Charles is talking about how like he's coaching a team that's going to be playing next week. So Angela's like, Charles is currently a retired pension-earning NBA player who owns multiple car washes and also is a coach for the Killer Threes in the Big Three Basketball League. And he's been doing that. He does a lot. He doesn't like to sit down. He literally is unhappy about the fact that I made him sit down on this roof right now. Yeah, that's where the money is. He goes to it.
Yeah, so she's updating us on Charles. Charles likes to work, which is nice. And then they talk about work a little bit, and he just keeps arguing with her about every little thing, And she's like, dude, this is our love languages back and forth. And now they're sitting together, married to medicine style in the confessional. And he's just looking at her. And she's like, that's not true. That's true, right? That's our love language. And he's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Brussels sprouts. That's our love language.
I'm giving him an out. He doesn't even understand that I'm giving him an out. Listen to what I'm saying. And he's like, I don't want an out. I'll listen to you. I don't need an out. She goes, but listen to what I'm saying. He's like, I don't need an out. What I need is a larger kitchen range. Okay. I just got a whole bunch of corns on the cob in bulk. Okay. So
she has to ask for a kiss. He's like visibly hating being here and just keeps arguing with her on camera. And finally she's like, just have my back. Could you just have my back? And he's like, no, no, I will not have your back. So they talk about her mom and the sister, whose name is bleeped out because the sister doesn't even want her name said on television. So bleep the sister. And she's like, yeah, I think I need to talk to her because, I'm going to talk to her because the shit really hit the fan when she talked bad to Amari that time. And we see that it was 6 weeks earlier. If this was that big of a deal, then why don't you call her 6 weeks early? Why are you waiting 6 weeks? But I think she's sensing like, okay, we're on episode 11 out of a 20 episode order. So let's bring bleep on.
Yeah, exactly. Also, notably, the producer asked Charles if he loves Angela, and he just like looks at the producer like, why do I have to say that? And they're like, are you trying to make it seem like he doesn't love Angela? And then the producer just is like, well, no, I just don't want, no. Yeah. And Charles just like shrugs, but he still doesn't say I love Angela, which I thought was interesting. So Angela is avoiding her sister. They have this is a terrible rift that has happened all because of kitchen cleanup drama, which is not unlike Below Deck.
No, and sister's not kitchen cleanup drama. Sister is because the daughter went over and tried to get the car.
No, but I thought the initial rift happened because of or was it just only?
No, the daughter and Charles had a rift because the daughter didn't clean up the kitchen. Oh no, you're right. The mom didn't clean up the kitchen a long time ago, and then she fought with Charles over the kitchen. Yeah, Charles
and
fights about his kitchen being clean.
I think the sister got drawn into that. What'd you say?
I don't know. I don't think it was the sister. I think the daughter and then the mom had fights with Charles separately about the kitchen.
Okay. It's a very sensitive room.
The kitchen. It's the most sensitive room in the house. The crying kitchen. That's where everything goes down.
So Angela's like, look, I've done everything for her, and I've set them up for success, the tax businesses, the houses, teaching her how to further her life, giving her skills. And Charles is like, yeah, well, I've been through something similar to that. She said, how did you handle it? I kept walking the other way. He's like, leave them. Who cares? Get them out of your life. They're toxic.
Yeah, he's like, dump him. So he goes, yeah, if you keep giving, it's just going to get worse. You got to draw a line. They got to hit a wall and learn. And she's like, but I paid for those walls, Charles. So she keeps saying, for my sister and my mother to disrespect me in a house that I provided. And then the mom turns it around on her and she's like, okay, we're moving out. And she's like, how dare you move out? Well, I wouldn't be living there either if every time we had a fight, you're like, I provided this house and you're still going to talk to me like that? It's worth the mortgage to not have to listen to you say that over and over, I'll tell you.
Angela seems like she is the prototypical rescuer in the Cartman drama triangle, wherein there's always the persecutor, the victim, and the rescuer. And the fatal flaw for the rescuer is that they try to help out, but then they secretly want like recognition in return. And then when they don't get it, that's how they contribute to the drama. And so her clearly buying a house for them and then being like, well, I feel like it's a slap in the face that they didn't even want, like they wanted to move out of the house. I mean, it is a slap in the face, but I also feel like she clearly has a role. But the problem is I can't figure out the other, there's definitely a persecutor here. I don't know where the victim is. I feel like this is like a drama. It's not a drama triangle. It's like a drama line. And I'm trying to figure out where the other point is on this triangle.
Yeah, I don't worry about drama triangles in therapy speak. I just look at people and I say, you're the asshole and you're not the asshole. That's Ronnie therapy. It's much simpler. Black and white is much easier.
Drama bucket. I'm talking about the drama triangle. You just have the drama bucket. Everyone's in there.
The asshole bucket. Yeah. So who's the asshole in this situation? And then we can just move from there. So she's like, she doesn't appreciate anything I did. And I've done so much for my sister. I tried to set him up, blah, blah, blah. And Charles is like, oh, God, I get it. And so she's like, but, these are our sisters we're talking about. And he goes, who cares? And she's like, well, Charles, I like to go the sweet, sensitive way. And Charles goes for the juggler. He goes for the juggler, which I like because I just like thinking, don't take that man to a circus, It's like that's when you finally see see Charles lose it. Charles won't fight with family, but he'll kill a fucking juggler.
I get the sense that Angela, she buys things like the car for her mom and sister. She buys the house. But like, if you start to think about it now, like one of the issues that they had with Amari was that Amari went over to that house and was like, I'm going to use this car. I have a right to this car because my mom bought it for you guys, which is, I think we both, when that episode happened, we both were like, you don't get to just take that car out just because your mom bought it for you. And it makes me wonder if all these gifts, all these things that Angela, quote unquote, gets for her mom and sister to set them up for quote unquote success, if they come with massive strings attached. Like, oh, I got you this car, but by the way, I need to use this car and I get to use it right now because I bought it for you. Like everything has like a little bit of you don't fully own this thing, which is maybe why the mom later on is like, yeah, we decided to get our own place because we want to be like on our own a little bit more. So I feel like there might be like another side to this story a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what she's doing. She's doing I bought it, so now you have to respect me. And that's just not.
But not only do you have to respect me, but it's like I bought it and I actually also still get access to it and get to use it.
Well, and it's not even her getting access to it. It's the daughter. The daughter didn't buy. Amari didn't buy that car. So yeah, there's something fishy here. So she's like, well, do you think I can hold my own? And he said, well, I mean, with the female. She's like, okay, Charles, have my back. This is where she says, have my back. And he goes, do you want me to sit behind you?
And she's like, just have my back. Just give me have my back. And he's like, he just doesn't care. He's ready. He's checked out of this interview at this point. But, he's just like, I'm going to hang out. He's like, I do have peace. I'm a long way for them. He's like, look, my family was Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry came along. Okay. So look, I just found my peace. So now we go to lunch with Cynthia and Shamea. And Cynthia is there and she's like, last night was a lot. Which is funny because I feel like that's what she says every episode.
That's she wants to Starbucks. She's like, woof. Oh, that was a lot. That's a lot.
They're like,
I threw a lot last night.
Man, what's your name for Starbucks? Last night was a lot. Okay, we will write that down on the cup.
Nene hurt me. Nene hurt me that time. Which we'll still get into today. I love that all these years later, it's like, I get it. because Nene hurt me. So Shamea's being very dramatic. You know, she's like, I didn't sleep. It was just so heavy because I go to this event and all the girls turned on me at Porsha's command. And she's saying, you know, before I even arrived yesterday, I had sent my mom this text, and I'm going to read it to you to show you how sad and dramatic I felt even before I arrived to the event. And the text said, I feel so much sadness now, and I don't even know why. I just want you to pray over me. And she said, I'll pray for you now, my baby. And the texts are flying all over the screen. Just a note to my friends, I don't give a fuck what you texted your mom.
Yeah.
I don't care. And I don't need you to bring it up at coffee.
It's not remarkable if you text your mom and said, I need you to pray for me. It's not remarkable that your mom would text back and say, I will pray for you. Of course, most moms will, I think, will do that, but I just don't think it's remarkable. I think it'd be more remarkable if the mom was like, by the way, your dead cat's still in my freezer. Come get it. Like, that would be something put up on the screen.
Or if your mom was like, guess what? I've decided I'm no longer praying for you. You're out of my prayer circle.
Guess what? It turns out I'm actually not your mother, and I wasn't going to tell you, but you've pushed me to the limits with these ridiculous requests for prayers.
Or if your mom texted you and said, hey, there's a girl named Amari at my house trying to take my car.
So Shamea felt very blindsided by that event. And she said she didn't even know what she was walking into. I'm like, well, congratulations. You now hold a peach, and this is your reality until you are off the show, which is every scene has the ability to become a blindside and an ambush. So enjoy being a reality star.
Well, she says that she would never give the ladies an opportunity to put her friendship with Porsha on the line. But you did. Porsha didn't do anything more than you did by letting these girls run their mouths about it. Both of you could have done the same thing, which is don't talk about Shamea. Don't talk about Porsha. I'll deal with that on my own.
Shamea says, the fact that she was questioning me in front of these girls, it's like they're the jury. And I would think that us being decades in on our friendship, that she would discuss things in private with me. I'm like, well, this is why Porsha is like an enduring reality star and you are not so far, because Porsha understands how the game is played, which is that if you have an issue with a friend, yes, if you want to preserve the friendship, you do it in private. But if you want to preserve your reality career, you do it in front of randos at a quote unquote event, like for your pampering event. That's how you do it. That's how you stay on TV.
Yeah. So Cynthia is like, whew, that was a lot. How did it even get here with you and Porsha? And she's like, well, you know, I was talking to the girls and it seems like they repeated whatever I said in a bad way. And then we see a flashback with Porsha saying, you went on to say that you had a conversation with Shamea, that I didn't come to her wedding. And basically you're saying I'm a bad friend. And then we come back. And Cynthia's like, so that's not how you said it? And she's like, no, because I would never go sit with Angela and have a conversation about Porsha. But we were talking and Angela said, you know, Portia's not really my good friend. And I said, no, we are good friends. And I said, I know sometimes it could look a certain way to people. Like, I get how it could look like Portia's a bad friend, but she is a good friend. But I think you even saying it could look like Portia's a bad friend, but she's a good friend is not a good friend thing to say. Like, I get why you would think that Portia's a bad friend, but
it gives her like, well, it's like she's covering her bases where she's like, well, it's like saying allegedly when you spread gossip on the internet. So, well, I said allegedly. She's saying, hey, well, no, I stood up for her. I said it could look like that, but you know, of course it's not like that. I understand how she could look like a totally awful, selfish friend. It's very one-sided and she takes me for granted and she's basically a bitch to me, and how it's amazing that I even, you know, stayed by her side, even the way she did me dirty. But it could just look like that, but it's really not like that at all.
Right.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
And so then we see a montage of Porsha doing shady shit, which, and again, I'm not saying that Porsha doesn't. Like, she's definitely guilty of all the stuff in this montage. I'm just saying I don't think Shamea is the most innocent either. So we see the Porsha being like, that's not Drew, or that's not Shamea singing, that's Drew. When Shamea was singing, playing her song over the extremely high definition, high quality speakers of her iPhone at the restaurant. And so Shamea's like, well, it's like I'm always responding like, no, Portia's not that bad. She's great. I'm just a good enough person who can take Portia's monstrosities. And, even if she's dragging me, I'll always give her love because that's what I do. Oh, no, Cynthia says that. She's like, I get it because I'm the same way. No matter how much somebody's dragging me, I'll always be a good person.
Yeah. And Shamea's like, same. And I think that's the problem with this group. They don't understand that. They don't understand good friendships. So Cynthia's like, when I think about Shamea and Portia's relationship, I see similarities with my friendship with Nene. And
Lord. Here we go. Fucking Cynthia. I still can't let it go.
Although it's not a terrible comparison because Nene and Porsha are kind of like alpha divas and they require a lot of tending to, I think, as friends. And Cynthia and Shamea are more like the betas. They're the betas. And so eventually the betas get enough, the show gives them enough alpha energy that they don't want to be the betas anymore and it creates chaos. But Cynthia's like, it's just hard. You see your friend that you're used to and talking on the phone all day, and then you see them on the friend circle and you guys aren't even speaking, and you want to say, whew, last night was a lot. But maybe it wasn't a lot for them. Maybe it's only you and you don't know because you can't talk to them. It's a lot. Think about this last night.
And then Shamea brings up that it's not just them. There's more extenuating circumstances to all this drama, which is the mother drama. Dun, 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 dun. So we find out.
The mother.
We find out that there's drama between the moms. And
why did they wait so long to
I can't find the screenshot of it. God, I've got a lot of pictures from Vegas.
I loved the photo of the two moms when they were younger. So apparently this is a generational issue, which I kind of feel like they should have been setting this up from the start of the season. I mean, there was that one moment with Miss Diane where she said, well, don't trust the girl who brings the dog that brings the bone. But I love that this is actually going to touch on some, mom on mom discord.
And then Porsha had an Instagram story that was like, I don't have the exact screenshot, but it was along the lines of like, our stuff is on the show and I can work through that stuff, but don't come for my mother. So here we go. So she's like, there's other components. Like she shared with me that even my mom didn't know, like how to accept the history of our parents, And she said, it's hard to be her friend because she's always like, be careful around her. And, you can't trust her. And the apple doesn't fall from the tree. So Porsha said that her mom was saying that. Like, she's just like her mom. Don't trust her. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I was like, that's really hurtful to say to me about my mother. And then we see a flashback to, Miss Diane saying, you've always got to be wary of the dog that brings the bone. Now, I get what that means, but my dog does not bring the bone, and I'm wary of that dog. You know what I mean? I keep throwing the bone. He goes to get the bone, and then he stays away from me and makes me chase him to get the bone. He's a badly trained dog, which I get. But I'm wary of that dog. Like, or should I be more trusting of him? Is that a good thing that my dog never brings the bone? Maybe it's just being a good dog.
Maybe the dog understands your needs and wants, and maybe Bueller says, you know what? I don't think that Ronnie wants a bone. So I'm not going to do it.
Bueller's like, get some exercise. Chase me to get the bone. Come on, let's get that heart moving.
The producer is saying like, why did your moms fall out? And she's like, I'm not gonna get into any of that. I'm not gonna get it. Like,
I brought it up. This is what Shamea does. It's making me fucking crazy, and everybody falls for it. Shamea's like, let me introduce something into evidence so I can get everybody talking about it and asking questions about why Portia's mom would say something like that. But then I'm not ever gonna say anything so I can stand by and look innocent. She's like, here, our moms have drama. I will not speak about it. Please don't make me speak about it. The only reason it's into evidence is because you just brought it up right now on national television, ma'am. Come on.
So Cynthia's like, well, you guys will get to some place of resolve. Like Target, they sell a lot of that if you have some dirty carpets. But I'm glad I've got one-on-one with you. I mean, I hate that it's under these circumstances because last night was a lot. And Shamea's like, yeah, I feel a little bit lighter now. Mainly because I was very gassy at the beginning of the scene and things have resolved. So Cynthia's like, yeah, you should. And I know like every friendship has its internal issues, but you guys generally seem so freaking happy when you are together. And Shamea's like, yes, when I'm smiling through my tears and subverting my own emotions and wants and needs in our friendship, and all you see is me laughing to mask the pain. We do seem so happy when we're together.
Yeah. And she's like, I would love to have a Porsha Shamea relationship with somebody. Like Nene. Do you have Nene's number? Could you text Nene? Maybe you can meet with Nene to talk about me. And Shamea's like, well, I might be up for grabs. You could take me in. And then they laugh. And it's, whatever. I'm not feeling it. I'm not buying it, Shamea. So then it
was an okay laugh. It was not.
I'm not buying your laugh. I'm not buying the victim scene.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Elsewhere in Atlanta, we get the thing that they've been doing this season, which is they make they take us around the city through like a viewfinder where like most of the screen is cropped out, but it's like we see like a film strip, and then it's like and we go to another one. So we see important things. We see Kelly overseeing some waffles, not actually making waffle. I don't think we've actually seen her make a waffle all season, despite the fact that she's the waffle queen of Atlanta. So she's overseeing waffles. Britt is doing something about as annoying as you'd expect Britt to do, which is like, I'm going to try on some new outfits, Mike. Do you want to see? And then she tries on outfits, and everyone's bored. On screen, off screen, at home.
Yeah.
And
he's bored. We're bored.
And then we see Shamea sitting in a very low chair at a very high table, talking about her new single.
And of course, Shamea is at a single. She's at a studio talking about her single with her whole family there to support her. And she's like, my friendship with Porsha is so hard. Oh, just fucking record your single. My God. So then Glenda, Shamea's sister, is like, friendship shouldn't be that difficult. And her other sister is like, yeah, we've watched this going sideways for a long, long time. So I like that Shamea is like, how dare you bring mothers into it? I'm going to bring my sisters in to talk shit about Porsha.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So now we wind up at Bolero, spelled BOWL, with Angela, Cynthia, and Porsha, and they're going to go bowling. And
I think that's kind of a cute thing to name a bowling alley, because like you wear a bolero around your neck, and you don't want to think about wearing a bowling ball around your neck. What are you trying to do, drown me? What you do to somebody that you hate in a river?
Heather Gay had to turn it off right away. She was like, too many memories of my bolero jacket at the wedding. Bolero. So Portia's wearing this bodysuit, which is really showing off her ass, and we get a whole bunch of shots of her like Porsha twerking, bouncing, undulating, all that good stuff. And everyone's laughing, and then they're bowling, and Angela's funny because Angela's like, all right, everyone, do you mind if we bring up the bumpers? And they're like, bumpers? Yeah, the bumpers. She's like, she hates the gutter, apparently.
And Portia's like, we don't use bumpers. We're grown. But Angela's like, she's already got bumpers in her ass. The bumpers are her ass, she says.
And Portia's like, why doesn't she just lay her arm down in one of the lanes and she can bowl with the other one? Because she's so big, she's like about bumper arms. It's very funny.
So they play some wacky bowling for a while, and then they talk about PJ, and now it's Portia's victim time. Portia's like, it's just been so hard since the divorce, That was a real... That 5-minute marriage was very, very real. Very real. I can't believe it didn't go sideways. I mean, I can't believe it went sideways. 5 minutes of paradise.
Yeah, and it's the usual stuff. She's like, well, PJ was like, where's daddy? And I didn't know where daddy is. So I called Simon, and then he left us on red. And then she's getting older. She's like, I want daddy now. It's like the typical, it's all very sad. But it's like the standard, what we see on Bravo. The child is looking for both parents, and she doesn't know what to do. And then everyone's like, oh, my God, this is so sad. And she's just sort of doing the whole, like, I'm going through a lot right now kind of thing.
Yeah, so they texted Simon, but he left them on red. And so ever since, he's been trying to make her life hell. Every day she wakes up, and he's making her life hell on the internet. And she's like, we had a real family. Like, I don't want it to look like I'm trying to replace everybody, which is why I started calling the dog Simon and the au pair Simon as well. So they're talking about how painful divorce is and stuff like that. And then Cynthia's like, you don't have to be so strong. And every time we see you, you're so strong. I think this is the first time you've talked about how difficult it is getting a divorce from someone you've been with for 5 minutes. It's not the first time, okay? This is episode 11, and it's been talked about every episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's also not even her first divorce. So she's like, Cynthia's like, I've been through 2 divorces. 3 if you count Nene, which, wow, that was rough. But I absolutely get it. Take the moments and just, keep going because you have a lot going on. Did this generic advice help anything? Because I really don't know what else to say. I kind of want to get back to bowling.
Wanted to tell you the same thing that I want to tell Nene one day if we ever get the chance. Waste not, want not. Okay, thank you. That was a lot. That's where
the cookie crumbles. Speaking of which, should we put some cookies on the alley and roll over them with the balls? I don't know.
If I could only text Nene, 2 birds in your hand are better than 1 bird in a bush. Thank you.
Why do you have a bird in the bush? Just go with it, Porsha.
5 minutes early is 10 minutes late. Thank you.
Can we put some bumpers in that bush? So Porsha she's
Porsha Pampered by Porsha event.
Yeah, she's saying that she really wants it to be a celebration of us individually as women. Even though there was zero activity there that celebrated the women individually, it was just a sound bath, but that's fine. And she
really wanted to celebrate together. Lauren pretending to be a therapist, but they ruined even that. You did not. You wanted a bunch of people with high Instagram counts to take pictures and post on their Instagram. You were using them. And then Porsha also posted on Instagram. Yeah, everybody's saying, did they get paid to do my Pampered by Porsha event? Yes, they got paid by the show. They were paid to be there.
Yeah, but that's different because they'd be paid by the show regardless. So yeah, this event to celebrate us individually as women was really just to celebrate Porsha and bring awareness to her sheets that she's putting out.
Yes.
So Angela's like, so how did that make you feel? Did it catch you off guard, everything with Shamea? She goes, I try to be the best Porsha I can be, but right now, going through divorce, am I really 100% of what my friends need? Maybe not. And I'm not normally seen as fragile because I'm a strong friend and I'm the funny friend, but right now mentally, I just can't do it. I'm like, yeah, but when was the last time Porsha was the friend that just gave herself over completely to someone else? Porsha's always been the diva. Well, not always been. Ever since she left Cordell, she's been the diva, And she's acting like, well, normally I would be totally there for my friend, but now I just can't give myself all over it. I was like, well, because you always have drama in your life. And so you're always the one that needs to have the attention brought in towards you instead of you going externally.
But all of these problems in the friendship aren't even that big at least from what we're seeing on screen. They haven't had a fight. They haven't said anything mean to each other or about each other. It's all just little things happening through the other women trying to cause drama. So it's hard for me to buy fully into this because I don't really even get what's going on.
Not totally, because again, that moment when Shamea's playing her song and Porsha was being downright rude, being like, "That's not you, that's Drew." That's
well,
Drew.
If they were bringing up those, then yeah, and she did bring them up, and haven't they brought that up before?
I don't think they really. They may have lightly discussed it, but I have to imagine that Porsha and Shamea's friendship has been full of those moments, and Shamea has kind of kept it all inside, and now she's kind of starting to explode outwards, and I think that's what's really going on here.
Okay, so
I think we only saw the tip of the iceberg.
So then we go to Drew's lawyer's office, and she's talking to her mom, who's calling on 2 devices because she can't figure out which one is going to work. So her face is in 2 screens and her voice is coming 2 times. And she's like, my mommy is almost 80 years old, but you wouldn't know it. She has so many devices. I was like, okay, but she's on all of them right now.
I know, that was amazing. When she came onto the phone and there was 2 faces on FaceTime, I was actually like, how did she do that? Is there a feature on my phone that I don't know about? I kind of want to do that someday. But it turns out she just was on multiple devices. So Drew is in the car and she's leaving her lawyer's office. And there's all sorts of weird shit going on, which is essentially that Ralph is claiming that he's the rightful owner of Drew Sidora LLC. And because Drew started up another LLC recently with her lawyer, somehow this means that Ralph thinks he has grounds to get Drew's lawyer, Tanya, recused from the case. I wasn't sure exactly how or why, but that's apparently the latest
so
development.
basically she has an LLC that all of her money goes through. So the show money, the music money, the ad money, the Instagram money, everything is going into this LLC that he owns 40% of. So he's been living off her ass this whole time and pretending to make all this money, but he's living off half of her income. And now that she's decided to move that so he can't have access to it, he's suing to try and still have access to half of her income, which is bullshit. That's fucking crazy. So his lawyer is Precious. Her name is Precious. I ain't fucking with Precious. Although it is nice to see that Precious has grown up into such a confident woman. Because
she had to overcome
the
a
only
lot,
Precious I've ever known is movie Precious, and she had to overcome a lot of shit. So it's good to see that she grew up to have so much confidence. But man, she might as well be throwing a TV at Drew's head just like her mom did in the movie.
Yeah.
Precious has turned into Monique, standing at the top of the stairs, throwing a TV at her daughter down the stairwell.
But listen, maybe if the season goes on long enough, Mariah Carey's going to show up.
As if this wasn't
And intervene.
podcast. If this podcast wasn't enough proof, we all turned into our mothers. Okay. I may talk shit about mine a lot, but I'm basically a red wig away.
Yeah, I'm becoming more like my mom every single day. It's crazy. So Drew she's like, Ralph coming after my company truly caught me off guard. Did it really? Like, that's the most Ralph thing Ralph could do. Like, I'm surprised that hadn't happened already. The thing that caught me off guard is that he hadn't already come for your company yet. It's Ralph. For crying out loud, it's Ralph. Of course he's going to come for your company. He's got nothing else going on. We still don't know after all these years what he actually does for a job.
Yeah, and she's telling us now, she's like, well, I can't believe he's coming for my company because he does very well. He works very hard. No one who does very well would be asking for 40% of your LLC at any time during your marriage. I can tell you that. No successful person would be like, okay, and also I want 40% of your income. You don't have 40% of his business that we know about. I don't even know that he has one, like you just pointed out. So she's saying,
he also would not be staying in the basement. If he were successful, he would not stay in that basement, even though it's a nice basement. And like even though it's like, okay, he's saying basically, I'm not going to give up this house, so I'm going to live in this basement. If he were successful, he would get his own pad and that would be it. He is not earning a cent. Okay, he is clinging on to Drew in every possible way.
Money grubbing little bastard. So she's providing for the kids, according to her. We don't know, but according to her, she's paying for the kids. She's paying for all this stuff. And then Pastor Jeanette's like, yeah, he's not even paying child support. He's not giving you a dime. And she's like, yeah, but we have to be kind to each other and have a level of respect because we have to parent our children. Because in the long run, it hurts our kids. Having that toxic asshole in the basement is hurting your kids. Consider him toxic mold and get him out of there.
So Drew's like, and then he literally took the access away from me on our security system. So when I got to the house, my code didn't even work on the door and I was completely locked out the house. So I had to go to a hotel. And this was like at 1 a.m. And then he magically gets to the house and he's able to walk down into the basement and get in. And then he comes upstairs and lets me in the house. I'm like, again, I'm shocked this did not happen sooner. Like, this is a classic Ralph move. He is so awful. I will be very upset if he winds up actually succeeding in this case.
Yeah. So Drew's like, I just want to move. I just keep praying, mommy. She's been praying this whole time. Get a good lawyer and get rid of his ass. Okay. Jesus isn't in law. He was fishing. Jesus is a fisherman. Don't hire fishermen to be your lawyers. Get a lawyer. Get a ball busting ass lawyer. Okay.
Yeah, just because he's Jesus doesn't mean that he passed the LSAT, okay?
So sometimes it's like, I'm not even saying it's bad to pray. I'm just saying leave Jesus alone. He's got so much going on right now. He literally does not have time to go to court against Precious. Even Jesus wouldn't go to court against Precious. He's like, Jesus? I saw that movie. We have movie theaters in heaven. No way. You deal with it.
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
So elsewhere, Angela, another mom-daughter scene, La Margaret has come over to Angela's house. That's Angela's mom. And Angela's saying how she and her mom have always been close. And she always had this dream of taking care of her mom and of her mom living a certain sort of way. So when she bought her mom a house in Atlanta, it was an honor to take care of her. well, unfortunately, that honor has been taken away from her, because that's what the scene is about, is LaMargaret breaking the news that she's essentially, maybe not breaking the news, but announcing on camera that she is not living in that house anymore.
So LaMargaret's pretty amazing, I have to say. I loved her. She was like, yeah, we just got the keys today. And she's like, keys? And she goes, to the new house. And she's like, but what about the house I got for you? And she's like, well, yeah, appreciate that. But, you've got enough on your plate, mostly Brussels sprouts. So
a lot of roasted vegetables on your plate right now. So we just figured we'd get out of the way. And also, we're afraid to touch the plates in this house. Otherwise, we'll get yelled at. And so she's like, in the long run, you can handle other business and you don't have to be worried about us. And we basically just want to know that when we have a car in our driveway, some 22-year-old Gen Zer isn't going to come and try to drive away with it, claiming that it's hers. So we're just going to do our own independent thing. That's it.
Yeah. So Angela's like, but after everything we're going through with Amari and all of that, and Angela, we see a flashback of Amari telling her that, and then Angela's like, okay, we need to get this out. Like, Bleep and I don't talk, but still. And she's like, her name is La Bleep. Okay, have some respect for your sister.
She's like, and I know that you're in the middle of it, but I always feel like you don't think, I need you to be like in the paint for me. Just stand up for me, because I know how you did it that time with Charles. I know you can stand up to people. And Margaret's like, oh yeah, she's like, I was not afraid of Charles. I don't care if he was on the Knicks. Okay, he gave me sass about cleaning, and I'm not gonna stand for that at all.
And you're correct what you said earlier. The sister did have something to do with this cleanup, because she says, yeah, Charles said something along the lines of your daughter needs to do cleanup or something, and that was it. And I was not scared of him, and I'm not scared. And she's like, well, what were you going to do? Blow up on him? And she's like, I don't know, but he was talking about my child. You don't do that. You don't do that. She goes, yeah, but it's been 3 years. She's like, okay, but still. And she goes, okay, I'll write him a letter and explain to him that I'm sorry. But, I do love him. I mean, he's my son-in-law, even though we're the same age. She's like,
bonus
Mom.
shame. And Angela's like, oh, we're going to do the age thing again. She's like, I'm sorry. It's just so fun for me to do it. She's like, okay, well, will you not talk about my husband at his age? She goes, well, see, I would never talk about his age to his face, but it's behind his back. It's okay.
Yeah. So they love each other and they hug. And now it's time for a Real Housewives of Driving scene with Kelly teaching Chloe how to drive. Chloe, here's what you need to learn when you're in the car with your mother. Take her to a better stylist. Just ask the map lady in your car, say, map lady in my car, please take my mother to a place that will dress her well. Because goddamn, what is this woman wearing in every scene she's in? She went on Watch What Happens last night wearing an arch over her head, a cloth arch. It looked like one of those like oval tent pod things that you see when people go camping. I don't know what the fuck she was wearing. Is it going to rain? Is it an umbrella that you have on your head the whole day? Who is doing this to you? I know who's doing this to you. His name is Paris. Don't trust a man in white, hot pants jorts that are pulled up to his rib cage. I'm telling you that right now.
I think we're also still waiting for the other shoe to drop with Paris. Like, why was there so much attention about Paris and how like Kelly got Britt, free Paris services? If we're seeing like this gentleman come onto our screens and doing all this stuff, like we need to see the follow through. There clearly has to be some sort of scandal that's going on with Britt not paying for something or another, right? It just feels like they're setting us up for that.
Yeah, come on, payoff show. So Kelly is talking about how she's going through her divorce and getting her restaurant open, and it's so difficult. She has 4 kids, and she has a dog that she has to die and bedazzle and, teach to just stay on his mat and never have a decent life. And so she's exhausted. So they're talking about her first car, and she's like, you're going to get a Honda Civic hatchback. She's like, no, I want a BMW. You can afford it. You're the waffle queen.
She's like, no, because I take care of me and you're going to take care of you. So I'll buy you the car, but you still have to maintain the car. And she's like, fine. And they're just talking about how she's going to be working at the restaurant and everything. It's kind of one of these scenes that's like, you know what? She's a good kid after all. And they just
she's such a good kid. But here's what I'm saying. And I know it sounds like I'm attacking Kelly a lot today because I attacked her clothes. I attacked her dog. But now I have to also attack her mothering. Because look, if you're going to be the person in charge of driving your child and you're allowing your child to drive with their view obstructed, that girl can't see out of her bangs. She's got bangs. They're not just bangs. They're bangs that come down to her cheeks. She can't see. It's like teaching a child to drive, but then putting, foliage on the windshield. How can she see? She's going to hit somebody. This is not safe. Put your hair back to drive.
Well, she also, at one point, like, there definitely is a shot where they show, and she's like in 2 lanes. She just parked in 2 lanes. So
in the bike lane, by the way.
So
and she's
Kelly's
just blinking because she can't see. So it's like the whole world looks like it's probably going slow, like a strobe light is going off. I mean, your hair is very cute, but just while you drive, listen, this is an old auntie telling you while you're driving, just, I don't know, a barrette, just while you drive.
Maybe Kelly was distracted because one thing I noticed earlier in the episode was that when Shamea had her lunch with Cynthia, everything she was wearing said Balmain on it. It was like Balmain. And then like later in the episode, she was wearing more Balmain. And I was like, I thought that was kind of Kelly's thing. Didn't she host like an event at the Balmain store? And so maybe she's like, wow, Shamea really stole my brand for me on this show, and now I really have nothing except a curl on my forehead and a cloth arch I can wear on Watch What Happens Live. Either way, she starts talking about the Sandy Springs location of her waffle dynasty and how it's taking a long time for it to open. I kind of feel like they're queuing up, like the season finale will be at the grand opening of a waffle shop. And
hopefully it's a fashion show and a waffle shop grand opening or something like that.
It'll be something like that, yeah. So they just keep on talking about that. And she's like, yeah, waffles, Silver Springs, Sandy Springs. That's why are you opening in a place called Sandy Springs when there's
no one wants a waffle with sand in it?
Can't you open it? Isn't there a place called Syrupville? I mean, half the places in Georgia are called Peach something or another. Peach tree.
Yeah, find a peach place. Peach Town waffles. Something.
Not Sandy. I don't want a waffle in a Sandy Spring.
Sandy Springs saline solution. Just things you don't want sandy in.
Yeah. So anyway, now we hear Drew singing her song, "You must be delusional.
You must be delusional."
I didn't even clock that was Drew. I didn't even realize that was Drew's song. In fact, I thought it was shady. I was like, wow, these producers are so shady. They're showing footage of Drew walking around playing a song saying, I'm delusional.
I thought they were doing it for the mom. I was like, that's not cool. I mean, the mom's, 80. We'll be calling her that.
Yeah.
But no, it's Drew's song, Delusional. Delulu, it's called. So,
that's right,
yeah,
of course.
Congratulations, Drew. You've made it to interstitial music of Atlanta, and no one could really tell the difference.
I had no idea. So
who knows? Maybe she's been singing it this whole time. I'm a boss with a car. I'm a car riding boss. Boss girl, a boss girl.
One thing I do miss about Drew and Ralph being together was in their final season together, which was last year, how Ralph was like, they were pretending to be like better than ever. And every time Drew was singing, Ralph was there with like a little keyboard next to him, like playing the piano, like Ralph the dog on the Muppets. I kind of miss that. Because I like to imagine
that was my favorite part of Drew and Ralph too, was when Pastor Jeanette would wasn't she living with them or staying with them or something? And she's like, okay, kids, practice for church. And then he'd pull out his little keyboard and be like,
he just has a little keyboard, a little Casio keyboard like I had in 5th grade. He's like, he presses a button, it makes the sound of like a fire engine.
Yeah. So she's hanging out with her mom at the house and talking about the kids and stuff. And she's like, wow, you guys have a trampoline? When you were little, I would not allow you to have a trampoline. I don't like that. And she's like, well, it's a new day, Mom. She's like, okay, well, have a seat so I can rip into you about child rearing because you're about to get it.
Yeah. And so Drew's doing she's talking about like, wow, divorce, attorney bills. Do you realize it's been 2 years going through the court process and it just gets lower and lower and lower every year? I mean, things are quite literally in the basement now, Mother. And so Drew's just saying how she's so overwhelmed and She just wanted her mom to be there because her mom jumped on a flight because she was going to help out with everything in the household.
Something's cracking in here. Something's going on in my house. I don't care. Maybe someone's in
Cracking.
here.
Is it
I don't
Ralph?
even know.
Is it Ralph?
Wheeler's not even here. Ralph's in my basement. Like, ugh.
Something's crack. Wait, wait. What do you mean something's cracking in there?
It sounds like something's like moving on the counter. Like something keeps falling down on the countertops in the kitchen, but I don't want to get up to go see. Maybe I'm about to die. Well, at least I'm on video. I can stream.
Maybe it's a squirrel. Maybe an
It
animal.
probably is. Those squirrels hang out on the roof all the time smoking cigarettes. Like, hey, you up here? Hey, were you hanging out on the electrical wire connecting the house to the electrical pole? That's a good one. Go hang out up there. He loves that. I came home yesterday. I'm in LA for the week, and I came home and I was lying down in bed, and there's like windows above my bed. And I can see the electrical wire going from the house to the pole. And the squirrel, I swear there's a squirrel here that stalks me. I've taken pictures of it on my Instagram. But every time I come home, this squirrel comes and just starts staring at me through the window. And last night he came and he sat on the electrical pole and was just staring right down at me. And I was like, hi. And he just kept like sitting there staring down at me. And he was rubbing his tail on a branch behind him. He was like twitching his tail on a tranche, rubbing it, and just staring at me. I was like, you're a fucking creep. This is the most perverted squirrel I've ever seen. I was like, could you stop like tail doing whatever you're doing? Like, it's creepy, bro. And he just sat there for a good 5 minutes like, welcome home, bitch.
Shut up, Ralph Squirrel.
Yeah.
We have a baby. We have a baby squirrel. We have power lines right by our window as well, and we have a baby squirrel that has been walking along the power lines. We call the power lines the squirrel highway because that's the squirrel goes. There's a main squirrel that goes back and forth on it every day, and so it clearly has a baby. And what's funny is I just assumed that squirrels are just like born agile, but like this baby squirrel does not have like the squirrel gifts yet. And so when it walks on the power line, it like hugs the whole power line. Like, oh my God. It's like Shannon Medora at the ropes course. Like, oh my God, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. Like I took a photo of it just like holding on like, oh. Like to see like an uncoordinated squirrel is kind of a blessing. And it's like adorable. I love this squirrel. I'll try to put up a photo of it at some point.
So, Pastor Jeanette is doing her thing. She's like, oh, I'm so worried about you and Ralph. I'm in constant prayer. Again, prayer is great. Okay. Keep praying. You don't need prayer in this situation. You need a baseball bat. Okay. So Drew's like, yeah, I'm praying too, but I need to pray for my attorney to get not to get recused. Precious is coming for my attorney. And so she's like, but we need to get along to be co-parents. Yeah. Why do you keep saying you're co-parenting well? If a man is treating you like absolute dog shit and locking you out of your own home, that's not being a good father. I'm not really sure why we're going there.
That is someone who is not co-parenting very well with you right now. Okay. So Pastor Jeanette is basically like, look, the only thing I've really said to Ralph is that like, I think it was a really dumb decision that the judge made him live in the basement because like he's downstairs.
And then they cut to the basement. You see the door. You see the stairs. They just kept showing the stairs to the basement. Like, I don't like that he's living in the basement. Stairs to the basement.
Yeah, they keep showing the door. That's like my favorite thing. And it's like, and she's right because like the kid, she says, by the way, because the kids are out of control. She goes, look, I spent all my days just yelling at the kids, okay? And if I can't control a kid, that's a problem. And you know what? I 100% believe that because I fully believe that Pastor Jeanette keeps kids in line everywhere. Everywhere she goes, she keeps kids in line. And if she can't keep your kids in line, then you've got real problems. And by the way, it starts with that trampoline. I'm with Pastor Jeanette. There should be no trampoline. That's a broken neck machine, okay?
Break Ralph's neck. That's what you need to concentrate on. Get a baseball bat, hit Ralph, and then you can pray for forgiveness after using the bat. Okay? So you can still pray. Just do it after you beat him. So Drew starts crying because she had no idea that her kids even had anything wrong, which is not a great sign for Drew.
Are you co-parenting
The mom is immediately
so well
like, these kids have behavioral problems. And she's like, what? I had no idea. The chef hasn't said anything.
I also like how Drew starts crying And then the private chef comes over and starts consoling Jeanette because Jeanette starts to cry. So the private chef with the big eyelashes who only makes salmon, she comes over. She's like, well, I guess I should console this lady since Drew's not here. I'm like, are you really? You can't even co-parent your mom.
Chastity's got to wear every hat in this house. So she probably had to call Chastity to come unlock the door for her. She's like, Chastity. Chastity's like, okay, I'll be right there. I'll bring my picks over. Just like, so Drew's very upset to find out that her children are now having behavioral problems. And she's like, it's because the vibes are bad. At the end of the day, you are delusional. She's like, we got to be connected for life, mama. And she's like, yeah, and he's the father of my grandkids forever until I make heaven my home. And she's like, oh my God, Mom, why would you do that? Now I'm going to cry again. And Chastity's like, can I finish the fucking meal? Please.
Jeanette's like, we have to be realistic. She's like, I can't. You're gonna live forever, Mom. She's like, well, that's what I said about my mom, and she's dead. She's like, come on, I get the last word. She's like, okay, fine. So they hug, and it's cute, and it's nice. And before we go on to the next scene, I am now sharing the image of this baby squirrel clinging on to a power
really
cable
hugging that
for
thing.
dear
Look at
life.
him. He's like, gonna make it. Gonna make it. Am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it?
And this squirrel climbed across the entire cable like that, like a log. So it just goes to show we all have to grow into our special skills.
That's funny. Okay, so the next scene is Porsha and Shamea having lunch. So Porsha shows up like, hi. Shamea's like, hello.
Shamea.
I'm here for a very serious scene. So Porsha sits down and Shamea's ready to be serious, and then Portia's phone starts going off at full volume, and she answers it, and Shamea's looking at that phone like, God damn it, you can't even turn off your phone. I'm not even letting Shadina call me right now with updates.
Because of course it's Portia's mom, Miss Diane. And you know that like Porsha was like, by the way, I'm about to walk in with Shamea. So I fully believe that Diane did this on purpose. I think she knew exactly where Porsha was and was like, I'm going to interrupt. So Shamea's like, gives her this look like, wow, I can't believe you interrupted our small talk about how we're both wearing cream to answer a call from your mom. So Portia's like, okay, well, what's been going on with you this week? Or Shamea's like, so what's been going on with you this week? She's like, no, I've been working. Oh, really? Really? You've been working? That sounds fun. Okay, and your event? That was a big deal. Let's talk about your event. I was like, gosh, Shamea, coming on really hot right now.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, Shamea, what's going on? I mean, I feel like you have this little like reserved energy. And Shamea's, they both have the scene of Shamea and I are so close. Porsha and I are so close. I can't believe we're in this situation. So Shamea's like, okay, look, let me apologize, first of all, for not being as open about my feelings about you over the years. I was like, oh, no, this is not a good opening. She's like, here we go. Welcome to breakfast. We're going to discuss 20 years of friendship. Are you ready? I was like, oh, no, she's going to pull out a list.
I was like, you're at a restaurant. This is a conversation you have at a house. Because if you're talking about years, this is not going to be here's the beef I have about that party. Here's the beef I've had since Y2K. Okay.
Since you stole my haircut in 7th grade, Portia's like, oh, damn. So she's like, and I would just like to preface it by saying whatever came out, I just wish that it hadn't come out through the girls. I wish that me talking to the girls hadn't come about through the girls.
Yeah.
Really bothers
There's a
me.
lot of stuff that I mask because I handle our friendship with care. I'm like, okay, all right. So Portia's like, yeah, but you'd already discussed some of these things prior to me anyway. I mean, that's how it even got to me. And she goes, well, the difference between you and I is that when you do things that bother me, like talk over my music, I didn't go crazy about it right then. I just stuffed it deep down inside and let it come out in a passive-aggressive parenthetical like I just did.
Yeah, and she's like, when you do petty stuff like make posts or talk over me when I'm talking, it feels dismissive and hurtful. And so I would like moving forward is when you feel some kind of a way. And Portia's like, she goes, oh, you're yawning. Are you tired? am I boring you? And she's like, I'm just taking a breath because this is a little uncomfortable. And she goes, it's uncomfortable for me to express myself.
She goes, well, it's the way you are. I mean, it's an uncomfortable situation. And so Portia's like, to be honest, I'm surprised by this energy I'm getting from Shamea. I'm confused why all these things end up being brought back, that we talked about. I mean, I have to say, I actually, believe it or not, like, I actually thought that Shamea's kind of preamble was not so bad. I thought she had that huffy attitude and everything in the beginning, but I thought what she actually said was pretty good. And, I think it's probably really hard to be friends with Porsha. So I was kind of proud of her for just being like, this is how I feel.
She did say that, but Portia's like, we already talked about all this stuff. So I'm not really sure why she's this heated about stuff that we've already talked about. I think that Portia's coming from it like, oh God, I'm sitting here with Shamea and I can see what she's doing because she's not acting like normal. She's acting like I'm on TV and I'm about to have a fight with you on TV. We're about to have a housewives fight. And Portia's like, I don't want to have a housewives fight with you. Like, we're real friends. Let's have a conversation. But Shamea keeps launching into this, like, with this energy, like, we're about to have a housewives fight. And Portia's like, why are we about to have a housewives fight? I don't want to have a housewives fight. Like, do you really want to take our relationship into me and Kenya territory, like me and Nene or anybody? Like, you don't want this to be housewives energy, do you? And she's like, yes, right. I do. So Shamea keeps trying to do this housewives fight, and Portia's like, no, I thought we were going to talk like friends. And so I think that's kind of where the disconnect is. And I can see where Portia's coming from, because Shamea is acting like she's about to housewives fight. Like, she's coming in with too much for so little.
Yeah, I don't know. I still really, I don't know. It's a weird one, but I was a little bit more, despite everything, I kind of felt like Shamea, Portia's like, Shamea's trying to express herself and Shamea's trying to express herself and Portia's like through it. I was like,
she didn't do it like that. She went, and she's like, am I boring you? I didn't take it as her being like rolling her eyes. I just think she's taking it as like, okay, we're going to have a housewives fight. I don't know. I mean, we can disagree. We'll just see how it ends up. I mean, who knows? Who knows how it's going to end up? We're seeing it from two different points. So who really knows at this point? But Shamea is saying, the fact that Porsha took all this stuff that the ladies were saying and ran with it is hurtful. Because they brought all these rumors back in the day and reasons why she wasn't a good friend to me. And yes, I did admit that. Okay, then why is it a problem when she's doing it? All she's doing is bringing up in a scene what everybody had been telling her. She wasn't accusing you of anything. She was just saying, and she didn't even bring it up. The other ladies brought it up. No, you brought it up. Shamea was the one. Wasn't Shamea the one who started it at that thing where she's like, I won't meditate. I can't meditate when somebody is, talking about me or whatever.
I mean, that is true. At the meditation thing, she definitely kind of like forced that issue. Like, I'm unhappy. I'm not going to say it. You're just going to see because I won't do the sound back.
Yeah. So then she's saying, then why is Porsha bringing it up at this event? You were the one who brought it up. That's the thing that's bothering me about Shamea. She keeps doing these little things and then acting like this huge victim about it. And I'm like, no, you're the one who brought it up at that event. She didn't.
Yeah. So then, Shamea's saying, well, I would like to salvage our friendship. And Portia's like, well, what, are we on the edge? Which I thought was actually a fair question, because it's like, wait, I thought we were just having like a little fight about, about like recent stuff on the show. I didn't realize our friendship was actually in peril. And so Shamea's like, well, because what you're saying now, and you're just being so dismissive. And she's like, well, what's going on? And she goes, it just feels like everything I'm saying you're dismissive of. She goes, well, what I'm trying to do is have a productive conversation because I don't want to argue with you. Shamea's like, I agree. But look at how you respond. If I did nonverbal communications, and she does the sigh thing, and she goes, you would feel like I was dismissing your feelings. And can I tell you what really hurts too? You come to me and you say these things like, oh, well, like my mom said, I don't trust you, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And do you know how that makes me feel?
Yeah, and she's like, well, I'm just telling you what she said. It's not me. It's just what she said, which is still bullshit. I mean, I'm with Shamea on that one. And Shamea's like, but you did say that that's the reason why you push back and pull back from me. And she says, no, I didn't. And she says, yeah, and you said that, and that is true. So if you're not going to be honest about things that happen on camera, then why are we even doing this?
Yeah. And Shamea's like, well, so you want to argue, and I don't want to argue with you because like you're making it into an argument. And she goes, no, I just told you the other day, I said, Porsha, I wish we could just be the way we are off camera, on camera. And you know what you said? They would have to pay me more money for that. Why can't we be that way? And Portia's like, She's like, Shamea, why are you trying to argue with me for the show? So now Portia's like getting into this thing of like, you're trying to have a housewives argument and I don't want to have a housewives argument with you because you're my bestie.
Yeah. And so Shamea says again, why can't we be how we are off camera, on camera? Which I don't really know what that means. So
yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, I don't know what Portia's like off camera, so who knows? And so Porsha says that ever since they started filming, there hasn't been a lot of communication with Shamea. And so they were already kind of strained. And it's been hurtful because she needs a friend at this time. And she doesn't need someone coming for her about something from 10 years ago, like the wedding. And, finding out that Shamea's all upset, but she doesn't even know until now. And she's like, whatever, I wouldn't do that to her. Like she's saving up shit for TV.
Yeah, and Shamea just keeps on saying, like, I just want us to be the same as we are off camera. Like, you can't put a dollar amount on that. I want you to do that because you love me and you enjoy being around me, not because you want to get paid to do it. And she's like, Portia's like, wow, I think that this show has caused you to like act crazy right now. She goes, yeah, but like, this is scary because the show has caused you to not be honest about your feelings, Porsha.
And she's like, well, I'm telling you, we don't have to do that. And she goes, I want the Porsha that's not on camera. And which you're being a Shamea you're being the Shamea on camera different than you are off camera, or otherwise Porsha wouldn't be so shocked that you're trying to start a housewives fight on camera. So Shamea is saying, she's telling us, it's not news. I'm a new peach holder and this is uncharted territory and it's always been on her on camera. But now that I'm on camera, it doesn't feel good when everybody can see both sides of it. Like everyone can see how I react now, and she doesn't like that. But are you reacting the same, or are you acting differently because you're on camera?
I do think that there's a grain of truth to it, though. I think that like Porsha, we've seen Porsha be like do some really passive aggressive things that we keep on bringing it up, but like again the music clip, but also her showing up in the middle of Shamea's big moment with the car at the first episode. Like Porsha there are definitely times where Portia's been like a very shitty friend. So I think there is a part of Porsha that does not love that Shamea is a full-time cast member. So Shamea is like, I don't even know what I did wrong for you to say stop. I don't know. I'm just trying to express myself because Porsha, I'm sorry, is saying like, Shamea, stop. And Shamea's like, I'm just trying to express myself. So Porsha just gets up and goes to the bathroom. And then she comes back to the table. And then she's basically like, let's wrap up our food to go. And Shamea's like, sure. It's like they're having like a very serious moment, And then they sort of have then they like the waitress comes to wrap up their food, and that like is enough of like a timeout for them to start to kind of reflect a little bit more and like come together.
So yeah, they decide to bake up, which is really weird. So first, Porsha moves the silverware out of the table, and Shamea just looks like, how dare, and now you're going to rearrange silverware while I try to talk to you? But then Porsha was just putting her elbows on the table, so she was moving, and she's like, okay, then I will keep talking. But they decide that they're friends anyway, and I love that Porsha's like, can I get this food to go? And then keeps eating the food, and even as it's boxed up and taken away, she's eating it. She's like, my food. Porsha, you need to show as much care for this friendship as you do for that food being boxed up.
So Porsha does, but I will say, like, I think that at a certain point, Porsha was just like, her voice cracks and she's like, I just want to get past this. And I felt like that was an honest moment. I did not feel like that was fake. I felt like she was like, this friendship matters too much for me. And they both kind of have that moment. Like, and they kind of patch it up and they hold hands. She's like, can you hold my hand? Okay. Can we just
let's go titty to titty.
Everything I heard, everything you said, I heard. Check. It will never happen again. And they decide that they love each other and they give each other a hug. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is really nice. I don't believe for 1 second anything is resolved.
No, it's Housewives. They've got another 10 episodes or something. So no, that's not resolved. But it's hard to tell because Shamea, I thought, was so dramatic on Watch What Happens Live. And then later, I think she said that everything's been fine or everything's okay now. Like this was just reliving the past, but everything's fine now. But then Porsha put out the Instagram that said, don't fuck with my mom or whatever. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows with these shows? I mean, I can't
We'll
really
just have
tell.
It's hard to tell. We'll have to tell. We'll just have to see how this.
Here's
this
kind of
plays
how I'm
out.
judging it. You know, I mean, obviously I've said my opinion 9 million times. I don't need to repeat myself on that. But here's who's making me laugh so far this year. Porsha and Angela and Cynthia a little bit. And otherwise,
Drew for me as well. But
Drew
I
a
laugh
little bit
at
for
her.
me.
I laugh at her. She doesn't make me laugh. I laugh at her.
Yeah, Drew a little bit as well. And so I'm going to be on their team.
I think that's a totally valid. Your feelings are valid, Ronnie.
Yeah, I'm choosing entertainment because I feel like when you're annoyed with somebody or when you have drama with somebody on a housewife show, obviously these shows thrive on drama, but you need to be funny about it.
I think that Porsha is a shitty friend. I think if Porsha is a shittier friend to Shamea than the other way around, but Porsha is a better reality star. She's more entertaining.
Yeah.
So
okay,
I think that's where
on
I
that
am.
we can agree.
On this very important debate.
Yeah, on that we can definitely
and
agree.
Porsha. Okay, well, thanks everyone for being here today. Let us know what you think, where you stand on this Porsha and Shamea thing. I would love to hear how people are responding to it. Just leave a comment on our Instagram.
All right, we'll talk to you next time, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Okay, we're done. Bye.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
It's always a party on Allison Block.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's the Foster and the Furious. It's Amanda Foster.
She can run my country. It's Angie McGovern.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto. Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offit.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Etchels.
We never miss her call. It's Diane Call.
Aaron McNicholas. She don't miss no trickolas.
Hava Nagila Weber.
You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Jamie. She has no last namey.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sipped some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us. It's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry. We love her on the rocks. It's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Livin' with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
She sure is swell. It's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman.
Let's share with Sharon Eldridge.
The Bay Area Betches. Betches.
And our super premium sponsors. She's VVIP, it's Amanda V. Can't lose when you're with Amy Baldwin.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides. Let's go into the woods with Guy Tubbs.
Who, what, why, where, and Gwen Pentland.
It's our queen. It's Queen Laifah.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
Hail the Cork Master, the Master of the Cork, Jennifer Corcoran. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish. She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch. She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo.
She gets an A, it's Kelly B.
We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
We're ride or die for Lisa Ryder Barron.
She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy.
Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters. She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose. We're on the floor with Molly Dorset. There's a chance of meatballs, it's Rebecca Cloud.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
It's always a good time when you're wasting time with Bravo. She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.